Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on the 14th of June, 2020. Raise this up a little bit to talk about everything that went down tonight at WWE Backlash. You know, for the most part, I enjoyed most of the things that went on tonight. I'll get into all of that, what I did and didn't like here in a little bit. But with me liking, decent a majority of these matches, I also want to know what you guys thought of tonight's show, and you can contribute your thoughts, your rhymes, reasons, or whatever in a couple of different ways. You can either send a super chat donation in the live chat. I really do appreciate that when you guys do that because, well, it really does help us out. And also, give me 1 second. For some reason, it's not letting me see the text messages. But if you guys want to text in, you can do so to 510-906-1341. Again, you can text in, to maybe not text in because it will not let me see them at the moment. Give me 2 seconds to fix this, guys. While some more of you jump into the live stream as we talk about tonight's WWE Backlash event. For some reason, the text messages will not show up. Give me 2 more seconds. They were up, then I changed the screen that they were on, and then it went away. So let's do this. Let's go here, and bada boom. We've got the text messages, I think. Yep, we can see your text messages. So if you guys want to give me your thoughts, you can do so, like I stated, one of 2 ways. You can either text in to 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. Or you can send a super chat donation in the live chat. Again, all donations are very highly appreciated by us here at PWU Unlimited. Oh, for some reason, the number popped up in the chat, and for some reason I thought it was wrong, but it's not wrong, so let's get into it and see who's here with us in the live chat. We got Chris Gomez, Jacko Rowell, Eric Tate, Sinclair Saturday, Kristen McNutt, George J. Cox, Cameron Ingram. We've also got Roman Molinar, Hannah Marie, Alexis Cevallos, Jason Dalton, Matthew Tant, and so many more of you here to talk about tonight's WWE Backlash pay-per-view. So the action for tonight actually started on the pre-show where we got the United States Championship match. No surprise there, they put the U.S. title match on the pre-show because that title has been relegated to the pre-show for a very, very long time. And I thought this was actually a really good match. Match went roughly 7.5 minutes. It was on Apollo Crews defending against Andrade. So Apollo Crews, as we saw last week, came out to his new music. We learned last week he got new music. We also saw Kevin Owens come down and join commentary. He knew he needed to be out here to help out just in case, Angel Garza, who was also out here, got a little interested in this match. Byron Saxton complimented Kevin Owens on wearing a tie. He was wearing his cutoff shirt with a tie for some reason. I guess he wanted to be dressed for the occasion. So Crews gave Andrade a back body drop on the ramp early in this match. Later on, Crews gave him an overhead belly-to-belly suplex into the turnbuckle. It looked like Andrade's leg hit the buckles and didn't really look like it. It looked like it hurt a little bit. Crews followed this up with Spinebuster for a 2. Andrade followed later with a nice DDT for a 2 of his own. Crews then hit a press slam, standing moonsault, and a standing shooting star, but Garza got on the apron and distracted the referee. Owens then saw this, got up from commentary, and gave Garza a stunner at ringside as Crews watched on. Andrade tried to attack him from behind. Crews countered into a spinning sit-out powerbomb and picked up the pinfall victory to retain the United States Championship. So Cruz retains in a very good pre-show match, and I can't even call it a very good pre-show match. I just thought this was a very good match in general. Moving on to the main card here. We got a... Give me 1 second, guys. I just got a very interesting email that I need to check. All right, I'll check that later. For some reason, it won't pop up. But we got triple threat match here for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and they did things a little different than we're used to seeing in a multi-team match as far as instead of it being 3 teams, 2 people in the ring, you can tag out anybody. They changed it up, and it was triple threat rules. 3 people, you can only tag your partner. Bada boom, there you go. So they did remind us that the winners of this match, whoever comes out, either the new or still the tag team champions, will move on to NXT this week to defend their titles against Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. So Kayla Braxton interviewed the champs before they came out. Bayley called them the greatest tag team champs ever. Braxton asked if their friendship would be over if they lost the titles tonight. They were both offended, and Bayley basically said, if you got more stupid questions to ask, Kayla, next time, send Charlie Caruso. So one of the big spots in this match saw Peyton Royce doing a dive effectively onto everyone. Bliss gave Royce a twisted bliss, but before she could go for the cover, Banks ran in, caught her, rolled her up, bada boom, there you go, there's the match. Match went about 8 minutes, but there wasn't really much of anything of note that happened in the match other than those 2 big spots, the finish and the dive. So the match was solid, but like I stated, nothing really happened in this match. Braun Strowman was then shown arriving in his Grand National, which we had to see that he showed up in his car because that plays into something later on in the night. We then got Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy in a 16 and a half, almost 17-minute match. This match went long, but I actually enjoyed it for the most part. I did think it was long. You could have cut about 5 minutes off of it, maybe 4. Maybe it only needed to go about 10, 12 minutes, not almost 17. So Hardy teased using the steel steps, but he thought better of it. Sheamus dropped him over the top turnbuckle, which caused Hardy's leg to slam against the top of the ring post. Sheamus had control for a while until Hardy hit a whisper in the wind. Hardy ducked a bro kick and hit a sling blade. He was on the top, but Sheamus tripped him off, and they sort of fell on top of each other at one point. Give me 1 second, guys. The live chat just disappeared for me. Got to be able to see what you guys are saying. All right, it's loading back up. Sheamus follows this up with a white noise. Only got a 2 off of it. Sheamus then applied a Texas cloverleaf, but Hardy got to the ropes. After what felt like a very long period, Hardy tossed Sheamus shoulder first into the post. He hit a twist of fate and a swanton bomb. Sheamus got his feet on the bottom ropes, though, as the referee was counting, almost counted to 3. Sheamus rolled to the outside, so Hardy ran after him and tried to dive off the barricade, but Sheamus gave him a bro kick. Sheamus followed this with another bro kick for the pinfall victory back in the ring. Graves said that Hardy, in defeat, well, he's let everybody down. I thought this match was really good, other than the fact that I felt like it was long, and it should have really only went about 12 minutes or so. We didn't need the latter half of 5 or so minutes. Braxton interviewed The Miz and Morrison. Miz said that they didn't have time for her. Braxton said, I don't know if you guys saw the pre-show, the kickoff show, but some rules have been applied to your match. You guys won't be co-champions or anything. Whoever, if possibly, pins the Universal Champion, Braun Strowman, will be the sole Universal Champion, not both of you. And they kind of both got this look on their face like, oh, fuck, what do I do? And then Morrison goes, well, I'd rather have you as the champ than Strowman, so I guess it's better than nothing. And Miz goes, yeah, sure. I agree with that. Otis and Mandy would then walk up, and Otis basically said, I don't care who's walking out tonight the champion. If it's any of you three in that match, I've got money in the bank, and I might cash in. And Mandy stood there next to him. Cool. No tease of it at all, other than that. So then we got Nia Jax versus Asuka. Match went 8.5 minutes and ended in a fucking count out. Of course, Asuka's not losing the title, but they couldn't beat Nia Jax. Yet, I think the count out is going to lead to something more, and I know people aren't going to like to hear this, another match between these two at the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. So Asuka applied an octopus hold early on in this match, but Jax got out of it and took over. Asuka applied a guillotine, and they let us know on commentary that this has worked against Nia Jax in the past. They said that these two have wrestled each other before, even in NXT, and I believe, I forget which takeover it was, maybe Takeover London? I could be wrong if that's the one it was. I think Asuka did beat Jax at one point with the guillotine. Correct me in the live chat if I'm wrong on that, or in the comments below. But Nia countered it into a jackhammer. Jax talked trash about Kairi Sane, so Asuka fired back up with some strikes and a Shining Wizard for a 2. Asuka followed this up with a drop kick and a running hip attack, only got a 2 off of it. Asuka used the yes kicks, but Jax caught her. Or caught one of them and hit a set out powerbomb for a near fall. Jax ran into the post, so Asuka went to the top. Jax went after her, but Asuka applied the armbar. This led to Jax falling out of the ring, which didn't actually look good. It looked like she fell a little awkwardly. Asuka applied an armbar on the outside, but Jax sort of slung her into the barricade. Asuka kicked her in the head, but the referee counted the 10, as neither woman can get back in time. Asuka barely made it at like 11. So the ref calls for the double countout. Asuka, obviously, of course, retains the championship because of the double countout. Asuka was stunned by the finish. She then jumped out of the ring and gave Jax a running hip attack on the outside before walking off. I feel like the match itself was kind of a struggle. Finish sucked, but I believe the finish may lead to maybe, this is just me speculating, maybe a no count out match or something at Extreme Rules. Maybe we get no count out, no disqualification or something. Basically, an Extreme Rules match. So MVP was on the phone ordering some champagne as he said he needed to set up for Bobby Lashley's championship celebration. He didn't want to skimp on anything. Lana interrupted him and talked about her importance in Bobby Lashley's success. MVP informed her that he wasn't the one telling Lashley to keep Lana in the back. It was all on him. MVP left to get ready for his championship celebration. We then got the handicap match for the Universal Championship. Before the match started, Miz and Morrison started to play their new music video, Hey, 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 Ho, Ho, or however it goes, I don't know. And it played for a minute or so. We see Miz's fucking mansion that just looks beautiful. His damn mansion out there in LA. And then eventually, just like we saw on Friday, well, it was interrupted by Braun Strowman. So Morrison was kicking away at Strowman early on in this match, but Strowman ducked the last shot. However, he still sold being down, and Morrison seemed confused. He tagged Miz, but they missed each other's hands. Miz entered the ring anyways. Miz and Morrison hit a double team skull-crushing finale, double foot stomp combo. Morrison went for the cover, but Miz yanked him off. Morrison looked surprised, and Miz acted upset. You know, they told Miz, if you don't get the pin, you're not the champion. So in the heat of the moment, Miz was thinking, fuck, is this a handicap match or a triple threat? I got to pull him off. I want the pin. And then goes, oh, sorry, bro. Basically. So, as these two were fumbling around, Miz then lets Morrison try to go for the pin or whatever. And Miz put Morrison back on top of Strowman, and he kicked out easily. Strowman then gave Miz a choke slam and gave Morrison a power slam to pick up the victory. Not much again. Another match where not much really happened other than the little dissension we saw at the end between Miz and Morrison, which was basically Miz going, if I don't get the pin, I'm not the champ. I'm conflicted. Fuck it, I need the pin. And then saying, uh-oh, I fucked up. They recapped AJ Styles defeating Bryan to win the Intercontinental title on SmackDown. Cole called the match an instant classic. Caleb Braxton then interviewed Styles, who said that this coming Friday he's going to have a big, phenomenal championship celebration on SmackDown. Everyone is invited, including Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan needs to learn a thing or two. Styles called Bryan one of the best ever, but not quite phenomenal. It's going to be interesting that I guess they're still keeping Bryan AJ going. Because what would be the use of him having to say, I want Daniel Bryan there for this, if that, I guess they're not going to feud over the title. Maybe they go into Extreme Rules, AJ versus Bryan in some sort of a specialty match. That'd be fun. Also, I do want to say congratulations to Denny Hamlin for winning the Dixie Vodka, was it 400, 500, whatever the race length was today in Miami, as that race just concluded. So going forward, we got the WWE Championship match. This match went about 13 and a half minutes. Drew McIntyre defending against Bobby Lashley. So McIntyre got an MVP's face during his entrance, and Lashley did not like that and applied the full Nelson before the bell even rang. A bunch of referees ran down to try and break it up, and Lashley did eventually break it after a while. McIntyre was down, but gave the ref the all good, I'm ready to start this match. So Lashley attacked McIntyre and gave him a suplex. Where was I? Just lost my spot. McIntyre still had his jacket on until Lashley ripped it off of him. McIntyre clotheslined Lashley over the top and drove him into the barricade. McIntyre got distracted by MVP, so Lashley picked him up and just sort of dropped him. Okay. Another clumsy spot. Not sure exactly what was supposed to happen there. Lashley then drove him into the ring post. McIntyre, that is. Lashley tried a spear on the outside, but McIntyre launched him into the barricade with like a suplex belly-to-belly-ish type spot. Looked cool. McIntyre then came back with a clothesline, flying clothesline, and a spinebuster for a 2 back in the ring. Lashley followed this up with a spinebuster of his own for a 2. Lashley used an ugly-looking flatliner, only got a 1 off of it. Lashley tried the full Nelson, but McIntyre managed to fight it off and hit an impressive-looking reverse Alabama slam. Well, kind of impressive, because you're supposed to think that Lashley falls on his face, but the way Lashley took the move, he literally fell on his forearms, and you can see he was at least like this far off the mat when he crashed down, but still sold it as he fell on his face. But it's still impressive for McIntyre to get him up like he did, in, holding him like that, and to whip him over his head. Lashley's like, what? How big's Lashley? 280? Bobby Lashley weight. Lashley's 273. So that was close. I wasn't sure if he was like 275, 280. So it was impressive by McIntyre, but you could tell Lashley really didn't want to smack his face on the mat. So he took it on his forearms anyways. McIntyre then came off the top, but Lashley blocked it and applied a crossface. McIntyre fought out and attempted a pile driver, but Lashley countered into the ankle lock. Lashley went for a spear, but McIntyre countered into a Kimura until Lashley got to the ropes. McIntyre hit a superplex, and went for the Claymore, but Lashley hit a spear instead for a very close near fall. Lana then chose this moment to saunter down to the ring. McIntyre pushed Lashley into Lana, who fell into MVP. McIntyre will then hit a Claymore kick and pick up the victory, retaining the WWE Championship. I thought the finish was a little clunky, maybe even, as some would say, bulky and convoluted. But for the most part, I enjoyed the action, and I thought these two, before we had to get down to the here's the scheduled finish of the match. Give me 1 second, guys. Before we got to the here's the scheduled finish of the match and how it's going to play out thing, it was good, I thought. So, give me 1 second. I got an email here I need to check. Might have some breaking news. No, never mind. Not what I thought it was. I'm waiting on something that would happen. I can't say anything right now, but something did go down backstage. It might have just been like a change of some sort, but I was told that something did happen during Backlash that wasn't expected going into the show. So if I do get any more info on that, I will let you guys know. But right now I'm still waiting, and I thought that might have been the message about that. So earlier in the night, we got a promo package, and we got it again here, that hyped up the upcoming July 19th Extreme Rules pay-per-view, and we also got a new Extreme Rules logo. Basically looked like a Hardy's logo with the neon green and purple. Then we're going into like an hour and 20-ish, hour 15 left in the show, maybe an hour 10. I'm not sure exactly what time this was. Yeah, it may have been like an hour and 10 minutes left. So 10 minutes before the top of the final hour. And I'm thinking, we only have one match left. It's Orton Edge. And then we see the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits, and we go, oh yeah, that match got announced today. But they're fighting in the parking lot. And my first thought was, why are they fighting in the parking lot? These two teams have had what they call friendly competitions over the last couple of weeks. Respectful competitions. So I assumed these two teams, even though I didn't think that I'd see these two teams brawling in the fucking parking lot. I thought, if anything, these two teams respected each other after what they've gone through over the last couple of weeks and all their different competitions, and would have a great friendly fight in the ring for the titles. But that's not what happened, and we got a load of bullshit. I did not like this at all. I know a lot of people thought it was funny, but I didn't. So the announcers are starting to talk about, hey, we got a Raw Tag Team title match going on, and then all of a sudden it cuts to the parking lot. And Montez Ford throws Eric on top of Strowman's Plymouth Grand National. Remember, we saw Strowman show up in the car earlier, just so we knew later that was Strowman's car. And they all freaked out and they go, oh, crap, that's Braun Strowman's car. Uh-oh, we got to run away. Nobody wanted to get them hands from Braun Strowman. So the brawl continues inside the Performance Center. They tease using all the different things that we've seen in their competitions. We saw golf clubs and bowling balls and axes and whatnot. Then they stopped fighting all of a sudden because Montez Ford thought this was crazy. They all dropped their weapons. And Montez Ford literally looks at Dawkins and goes, hey, Dawkins, what did Five Fingers say to the face? And you're supposed to think, well, someone's getting slapped. And then Dawkins hit, I think it was Eric, with a forearm. Didn't even hit him with his 5 fingers, forearm. Dawkins and Eric fought off camera. Ivar saw his bowling ball and had a flashback to their bowling. Ivar then bowled the ball right into Ford's nuts, or as they would say, right in the penis. As Ivar checked on Eric, Dawkins speared him through a glass window at the front of the Performance Center. Ivar had another flashback. Each team then argued, and I think it was Eric was like, bro, why'd you spear me through the glass? Dawkins said things may have just escalated a little too quickly. Ivar said they should take this outside. Everyone else noted that, well, hey, we're already outside, bud. So they're ready to brawl again when 7 people on crotch rockets, motorcycles, little speed rockets, just shows up. 7 people, little biker gang. Felt like I was watching Fast and the Furious 1 again, like I watched last night. Johnny Tran and all of his guys coming up on their bikes. And one of them gets off their bike, the guy in the middle, and it's revealed that it's none other than former Cruiserweight Champion Akira Tozawa. He offered a challenge in Japanese, and they huddled up and they go, It's damn ninjas. What do? We got to fight some ninjas. And so they realized that they needed to work together. And all of a sudden we saw some lightning and heard some thunder. Camera pans back down and we get the Viking Prophets. And my first thought was, as wacky as this is, and we saw that lightning and thunder, I am so shocked that at least Montez Ford didn't go, it's morphin' time. Because that would have just fit right into this when they transformed into the Viking Prophets with their weapons and whatnot. So they teamed up and beat up most of the ninjas, which was supposed to be an over-the-top, campy, cheesy fight. Kind of reminded me of that Netflix movie, Dolomite Is My Name, with Eddie Murphy. Tozawa was still there, and called up some big, tall friend of his wearing a ninja mask. Ivar then used the powers that be, his force, to bring in a turkey leg. Basically, not the force. He was Thor calling for his hammer Mjolnir. The big guy pulled a sword out. Eric was about to fight him, and the Prophets held him back, and they all ran off. They argued again, but this time they were up on top of one of the production trucks. Dawkins then gave Eric a bulldog off the truck into a dumpster. Ivar pushed Ford into the dumpster, and then dove into it. I think he said like bombs away when he jumped off. Ivar then had another flashback. All of a sudden we see referee Jessica Carr climb some random ladder next to this dumpster and go, "What are you guys doing? Your match is next." And then she goes, "Oh, hey, Ivar, you're kind of cute." Looks over at Eric. "You? Not so much." And then we hear Ford go, "She wants to smoke, but not Eric. She wants Ivar to smoke." Then a strange noise started rumbling and grumbling and moaning and groaning from inside the dumpster. And some sort of Godzilla-like tail started to appear. They said, "What was that? I don't know. Let's get the heck out of here." They all scrambled, and that was it. And then Tom Phillips has to tell us, well, based off of the actions that just happened outside, we are not getting the Raw Tag Team Championship match scheduled for tonight. And I think it was Joe goes, "No kidding," or something like that. He says something like, "Yeah, no kidding." I'm like, that was the best part of all this. Joe basically like, the hell was that? Of course we're not going to see them fight in the ring now. Which was weird that Jessica Carr did the whole, "Your match is next." And then their match, well, wasn't next. It was that cinematic whatever. And then it was time for what everybody came to Backlash to see. Boom, boom, boom. The greatest wrestling match ever. On one side, Edge. On one side, Randy Orton. And they did over-the-top, dramatic intros. Both men came down to the ring. All of a sudden, the lights go down and you hear, "Whoa! This is the greatest moment." And you hear the Fink. You see the Madison Square Garden old school microphone, and you hear the Fink, or whoever played the Fink. And he goes, and he intros both guys, making his way into the ring from St. Louis, Missouri, Randy Orton. Making his way into the ring from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Edge. You got Charles Robinson there wearing 1980s referee gear. Got the bow tie and the buttoned up light blue shirt. And the match was off. Full cinematics. Well, as full of a cinematics as this match could have been, still looking like a regular wrestling match. But they had all the extra cameras. You could tell some things were overproduced and possibly even redone. The bell rings, and Phillips yells, "This is the greatest wrestling match ever!" First 10 minutes of the match was, I couldn't get into it. It got better, though. I'm going to give them that. First 10 minutes was the feeling out process, and I'm kind of like, it's dragging a little. At one point, Edge headbutted Orton off the ropes on the apron, and Orton was busted open. The audience then chanted, "This is awesome." But not only was it the audience, it was the crowd noise from WWE 2K20 that was piped in throughout this entire match. Edge used a Russian leg sweep and applied a crossface, but Orton got a rope break. Edge avoided an RKO and tried the head and arm choke, which they called the anti-venom. Orton again got to the ropes. Orton used a neck breaker, which Edge sold big to take over, and they really played up the fact that Edge's neck is still not possibly 100%, and that Orton's going to work that over a lot tonight, especially to soften it up for the RKO. Orton repeatedly ran Edge into the plexiglass barricade and the steel steps. Orton then gave Edge a back suplex onto the announce table, read that wrong, and covered him in the ring for a 2. At one point, I think right after he dropped him on the announce table, he said, "I'm going to fucking kill you, motherfucker." And they go, "Oh, there's Randy Orton for you." Edge fought out of a chinlock spot, but Orton pushed him neck first into the buckle. Orton went for the 3 amigo suplexes, but only landed 1. Edge countered it and hit 3 amigos of his own. On commentary, they acknowledged Eddie Guerrero. So they did Randy Orton's most hated spot in matches. They traded chops. We know Orton hates chops. Edge got the better, but Orton came right back with the drop kick. They said that they were looking like Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat here with the chops, and then Steamboat closing it out with the drop kick. Orton shoved Edge into the post and followed this later up with a superplex for a 2. Orton used uppercuts until each guy collided with the crossbody attempt. At this point, they're just doing all the biggest moves in the history of pro wrestling. I'm surprised neither of these guys tried a super kick. Orton tried a draping DDT off the top buckle, but Edge countered into an execution for a 2. The crowd noise once again chanted, "This is awesome." Edge followed this up with a running knee and a running elbow strike for a 2. Edge then hit a flying crossbody for another 2. Orton used a schoolboy for a 2, but Edge applied a crossface. Orton countered into a cover for 2, then followed this up with an angle slam that only got him a 2. Orton went for a dropkick, but Edge countered into a powerbomb for a 2. Edge sent Orton to the outside, then hit a draping DDT in the ring. Edge avoided an RKO attempt and hit an unprettier, but Orton slipped out, and Edge used the Edge-O-Matic for a very close near fall. Orton avoided a spear, but Edge hit an unprettier for a 2. The audience chanted, "Once again, this is awesome." Orton dropped Edge over the top and hit a pedigree that only got a 2. Joe and Saxton were stunned by this. Edge followed this with a rock bottom for a near fall of his own. Again, the crowd chants, "This is awesome." Edge went for the sharpshooter, kind of paying homage to one of his childhood heroes, Bret Hart. Orton kicked him off, though. Edge used a backslide and only got a 2 off of it. Then Orton hit an uppercut. Edge came back with a series of roll-ups, only got a 2 off of them. Orton then nailed an RKO, only got a near fall. Orton set up for the punt, but Edge countered it into a spear. Edge hit another spear, and Orton kicked out. Edge tried something off the top, but Orton countered it into an RKO for a very close near fall. Edge then applied the head and arm choke again, which this time they called the anti-venom. I can't remember if they called it that the first time or not, but I know they called it the second time for sure. Orton then kicked out because he had the head and arm choke. Yeah. The announcer said that Orton might have kicked him low, but he couldn't tell. Orton was dazed. No, Edge was dazed. So Orton pinned him, and picked up the victory at just shy of the 45-minute mark. So after the match, Edge was laying there. Orton got right into his face and told him, "Go home. Be with your wife. Be with your kids. Tell him Uncle Randy says hi." As Orton walked off, a stretcher and EMTs came up, and they pulled Edge out of the ring. Orton looked on from the top of the ramp as the show went off the air. Like I said, I didn't care for the first 10 minutes, and I was kind of bored with it. But it picked up, and they really got me into it close to the end there. Vegeta Lover says, I wanted an execution. Didn't we get an execution? I thought Orton went for a draping DDT, and Edge reversed it into an execution. Let me see. I know I have it written down here. Yeah. Orton tried a draping DDT off the top buckle, but Edge countered into an execution DDT for a 2. He also hit his Edge-O-Matic that he had a lot early in his career, but once he became like rated R superstar Edge, he did a lot less. So I liked that callback with the Edge-O-Matic. But overall, I thought the show itself had some highs, had some lows. If I had to rate it, I thought the show was basically average, a little better than average. So I'd go 7.5. Joe Resto says, is this a 5-star match? No, it's not. Maybe a 4-star match, but it's hard to tell because you can really tell that this match was heavily edited with all the different random-ass camera angles. I mean, they had camera angles that seemed like there was one camera angle. I can't remember exactly what was going on. I think Orton had Edge in some sort of like chin lock, and it almost looked like the camera was coming up from inside the ring right in Edge's face. They had the Wile E. Coyote cam. They had the turnbuckle cams and everything, but hey, Orton brought back the Punk kick, and it played up what they were doing through the match of they made us think that Orton needed to work over the neck for the RKO, but no, he worked over the neck for the punt to the head. But with that was WWE, a Backlash. I do have some of your text messages to read here. If you guys want to let me know what you thought of tonight's show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that's 510-906-1341. This first text message here says, Edge and Orton wrestled the greatest match of both of their careers. Do you agree? No. I've seen both guys in better matches. I mean, I've seen Edge have phenomenal matches with John Cena. Like, their TLC match was way better than this. I've seen Randy Orton have phenomenal matches with Cena. I've seen him have phenomenal matches with Triple H. So they've had better matches than this. Both men have. Not saying this match wasn't really, really good, especially once it got rolling. This person says, do you see them splitting Cross and Bliss up anytime soon? And no. This person says, is it me or did the crowd sound very fake, like they used real crowd reactions instead of... Yeah, in the main event, they certainly did. In the main event, they used video game noise to bolster it up and make it seem like that they were getting a bigger reaction than they actually were. Person says, when do you see Otis cashing in and will he win? I don't think he wins, and he's got a fucking year to cash in, so I have no clue when that happens. Person here says, what's the deal with people breaking Braun's windshield? I don't know. It's just the thing they're doing right now. We might see it again. Coming up on Extreme Rules, someone may do it in Extreme Rules. The person says, I love the main event was so good. I wouldn't go as far as to say I loved it, but I thought it was fun. Especially like I stated. I'll say it again once it got rolling after that first 10 minutes or so. So the latter 35-ish minutes. Person says, do you think McIntyre will be champ at Survivor Series and Brock be Universal champ and rematch? I have no clue. Because right now, a lot of things that were planned at least past SummerSlam or right up to SummerSlam are being changed, with them possibly even changing the scheduled date for SummerSlam depending on where SummerSlam's going to be. So as of right now, they don't even know what the plans are going to be once we get all the way to November in Survivor Series. So hard to expect or predict when there's nothing to predict because they don't even have plans that far in advance. So with that, guys, that's going to wrap up tonight's Backlash review. I want to thank everybody who watched either live right here on the PWU Unlimited YouTube channel or watched later right here on YouTube. I want to thank you guys for the support, and you can also support us on social media. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. Follow us on Instagram by searching Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and follow us on Twitter at PW Unlimited. You can also follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter at TimmyBuddy, and follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TimmyBuddy. So with that, guys, I want to thank you once again for joining me here, whether you watched live or watched later, this Backlash review right here on YouTube. I will be live again tomorrow night following Monday Night Raw. So have a good night, guys, and I'll see you later.